Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the best entry-level real estate investment for an EU capital, and that is Sofia in Bulgaria. I'll give you 10 reasons why I think this is a good place to put your money in the real estate market. I'll give you 2 or 3 disadvantages as well, and my conclusion where to invest at the end. So let's get straight down to it. Here are 10 reasons why I think Sofia, Bulgaria is a good place to put your money. Number 1, strategic location. So Sofia is located strategically between Europe, the Middle East and Russia. And this is reflected in the fact that Sofia is becoming an ever more important EU capital. So Sofia Airport between 2015 and 2018 launched 42 new routes. Reason number 2, Sofia is very dominant city in Bulgaria. So it accounts for about 40% of the country's GDP. And as far as foreign investment is concerned, it gets over 50% of this. Reason number 3, Sofia is actually, for me, becoming also a bit of a tourist hotspot. So between 2010 and 2019, the number of tourists visiting Sofia doubled. And if you look at airport traffic as well, between 2013 and 2019, the number of passengers going through Sofia Airport more than doubled. Number 4, I want to talk about the high GDP growth in Bulgaria. Now, between 2015 and 2019, before COVID-19 came, the growth rate was on average more than 3% per year. And this actually in Sofia was actually higher than the average of Bulgaria. And also as well, in Bulgaria, salaries have actually been increasing by more than GDP growth as well. Number 5, specifically to Sofia, is the people of Sofia are very well educated. So if you look at the working population of Sofia, over 50% have university degrees. And this compares with 28% for the national average of Bulgaria. And also English is very widely spoken, in particular amongst the youth. Number 6 as well, I want to talk about population growth. So if you consider that Bulgaria has a very low birth rate, the population increase in Sofia over the last 20 years has not been too bad. So in 2000, you had 1,128,000 people who lived in Sofia, but in 2020, this had grown to 1,281,000. Now, a lot of people will say that's not a massive growth, but if you take into consideration, again, the low birth rate, it's not too bad, and it's only one of a few cities that is actually growing in Bulgaria. Plovdiv and Varna are another 2, and I did talk about Varna in another video. Number 7, I want to talk about the booming IT industry in Sofia. Now, Sofia has actually more, well over 50,000 people who work in the IT industry. And there's over 100 companies, IT companies in Sofia as well. And this is growing year by year. And if we take companies like HP, Bosch, IBM, Cisco, they have very large R&D centers in Sofia. And also if you take startups and IT professionals, per capita, Sofia has one of the highest in Europe. Now, I also want to talk about, and this is going to number 8, that Bulgaria, and in particular Sofia, are great places to do business. So in Bulgaria, you only need €1 to start a company, and on average, it only takes 3 or 4 working days to incorporate the company. The unemployment rate in Sofia is very low. It was before COVID-19, it was under 3%, and this was a lot better than the national average. And also corporation tax and income tax in Bulgaria are very low at 10%, and Bulgaria has one of the lowest government debts to GDP in Europe, and indeed in the European Union. It's second only behind Estonia. And let's take Sofia. The infrastructure is getting better and better year by year. So if we go back to just before 1998, there was no metro system in Sofia. But as of early 2021, there are now 4 lines, and they do intend increase, not the lines, but I did read that they want to open up 6 more stations, metro stations, by 2024. Number 9, let's go specifically to the prices, the property prices, which you all want to hear about in Sofia. Now, on average, it's only 1,100 euros per square meter. Now, that for an EU capital is very, very, very low. And even in city centre, it's only about 1,500 euros to 1,600 euros per square meter. Again, for a city centre in a European Union country, that is really, 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 really low. I also want to talk about going to point 10, the rental market. Now, considering you have over 100,000 students in Sofia, and as I was saying, well over 50,000 IT professionals, the rental market is very, very, very good. And indeed, before COVID-19, you were looking at about 5.5% gross on average. And if you even take into consideration the low rental income tax at 10%, and maintenance fees, which will account for about 10 to 15%, you're looking at and maintenance and management fees, I should say, around 10 to 15%. You are still looking at around 3 to 3.5% net, which for a European capital is really, really, really good. And I also want to say capital gains tax as well is only 10% in Bulgaria, which is very low as well. So I've given you 10 reasons to invest in Sofia. I just want to give 2 or 3 disadvantages. Number 1, we still know there is corruption in Bulgaria. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it still does exist. Also, the salaries are still, they've been rising quite steadily over the last few years. But at around 700 euros net per month in Sofia, they're still not very, very high. But they are growing, and I only see them growing at a faster rate, and which will mean property prices will follow. So I think this is still a good market, even though the salaries are not too high. And again, let's go to the low birth rate. But even though there's a low birth rate in Bulgaria, it is actually one of the lowest in the world. The population of Sofia is still increasing. And earlier this year, the Bulgarian National Assembly in Bulgaria want to introduce what is known as a Bulgarian card for foreign citizens. And this will allow, of Bulgarian origin, so this will allow these around 5 million people who are of Bulgarian origin, but do not have Bulgarian passports. They will be allowed to actually enter without a visa, to study, to work, and in effect to and most important of all, to buy real estate, and perhaps to settle as well and vote in the country. This will hopefully increase the population of Sofia as well. Importantly as well, these potential it obviously will not be 5 million, but a lot of them who will be allowed to come into Bulgaria, they will actually, with this card, although they can do a lot of things in Bulgaria, as I say, amongst them buying real estate, they actually will not be allowed to travel to other EU countries. So they potentially will settle there and increase the population of Bulgaria. Smart move, I think. These are the disadvantages. But now, where would you invest in Sofia if you did go for it? Well, I always go for the downtown area. So Losonets, which is very, very central here, you'll pay about 1,500 euros per square meter, which is, I think, for pretty prime central area, quite low. And it has many cultural, educational institutions. It's near the Sofia Mall. It's very near 2 metro stations as well. So a lot of advantages investing there. Perhaps I'd go for Istok as well, which is fairly central. You've got a number of embassies there, good travel links, and prices have actually dropped due to COVID-19 there more than in other areas. They've dropped by about 10 to 15%. So you could get in for about 1,350 euros per square meter. Other areas as well. Maladost 1, yes, I'd go specifically for Maladost 1. It's, again, fairly central, modern, developing actually really, really quickly, likely to be good for future development as well. It has the business park, which is the largest business complex in Bulgaria. And there you'd expect to get in for about 1,100 euros per square meter. Lastly, I know the railway station, a lot of you towards the railway station, it's not a great area at the moment, but it might offer potential growth in the future. So that could also be a good area to invest in. But there are other areas, and I could make a whole video on where to invest in Sofia. Anyway, I'd love to have comments from you. Love to hear if you've invested there or if you're thinking of investing there. Comments are always appreciated. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please do click the like button. If you do like my videos, please do subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.